So in terms of the gear that you might want to have this evening for our practice, per usual, I like to start with our supported back bend. So if you have your block, or if you have a rolled up towel, or you could even do this with a couch cushion or a couch pillow, anything that creates a little bit of a back bend for you, go ahead and go there. I find that the supported back bend is particularly beneficial at the end of the day. So here we are in the evening after what perhaps might have been a long day, either sitting or working or whatever the case may be. You might be starting to feel a little bit tired, and it's time to relax a little bit of tension out of the shoulders. And so a supported back bend is a great place to start with that. Another thing that you will need this evening is, in addition to, if you have a block, this will work. So you can use a block for this. If you don't own a block, so like if you're using a rolled up towel or a pillow or something soft underneath your shoulders, then I encourage you to also go for a quick walk around your house and collect a hardcover book. Okay, so this we will use as a, this is one of Dusty's books. This we will use as a support for your hand when we go into half moon. That's going to be a balancing pose that we're going to take today. If you don't have a book, or you know what half moon is and you're like, I'm not going to, book or no book, I can't do it, then you can support yourself with a wall, which is near you. One of the nice things about this format of each of you being in your own home is that you have access to your own furniture, you have access to your own walls. You're not, somewhere in the middle of a open yoga space where you might be afraid you're going to bump into someone else. And so make this space your own. I know you already have, and so but just know that if you want to use a book for support when we're in half moon, that's what this is going to be for. And I will cue the use of the book or the block for that. Okay, so I think you're getting there to your supported back bend, and if you're not there, go ahead and make your way to any sort of resting pose, any sort of, I prefer a reclined pose here at the beginning, just because it's a great place to kind of start to build our breath from the bottom up, but just get into a restful pose ultimately is the goal. Okay. So I read from the Sermon on the Mount last week, and I think I may have mentioned this, but I could honestly read the Sermon on the Mount every single day for the rest of my life, and it still wouldn't be enough because there's just so much in here. So I'm going to move a little further into chapter 6 later on. This is a pretty well-known passage. Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more important than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So, chances are you have heard that passage before because it's pretty well known, but I have noticed that sometimes these more well-known, more well-worn passages take on some new meaning when we are in new circumstances, right? Because a lot of times when things are going well and everything is going as predicted in our lives, when everything makes sense, then it's easy to hear things like this and think, okay, yeah, that applies, and here's where that applies, and we put it in the slot where it fits. But when all of a sudden everything looks different and we're on alert mode for everything, we're on survival mode, and we're paying attention to everything, ultimately I think that's the response that a lot of us are having to this scenario. Then it's you can pay attention to reading like that in a new light, and maybe start to think about how does that apply to this scenario that I find myself in. And just a quick thought too on the heightened awareness that we probably all are experiencing right now is that this is it's a good thing and a bad thing, right? That the fact that we are on this alert mode, this fight or flight response, where we're feeling like we need to pay attention to everything, and that causes our heart rate to elevate, our breathing rate to elevate. It causes those fight or flight hormones, those response hormones, those stress hormones to go coursing through our bodies. And in one sense, I do believe that is going to wear on us, right? It makes us a lot more tired at the end of the day. If you've noticed that, you're probably coming to the end of the day and you're thinking, wow, why am I so exhausted? All I've done is hang out at home. But what is going on in the world, and the fact that you are paying more and closer attention to it as an instinct that you have, is taking up more energy and more cognitive load. But what is also true is that with more energy and more cognitive load means that this is also an opportunity for you to perhaps learn some new things, perhaps make some new mental connections, perhaps you might find that you're having more creative thoughts, you're having more you're making more connections between seemingly disparate ideas in your life. And so pay attention to that, because sometimes seasons like this, moments like this, are an opportunity where you can really start to have those aha moments, because everything's important right now. Everything feels important. And so perhaps, maybe lean into that, because you're going to be paying attention to everything anyway. So maybe lean into that tendency that you are having right now to pay attention to everything as though it's important, because it's possible that something new and different and valuable to your survival or to your happiness in the future is going to come up for you. Okay. Go ahead and on your back, just go ahead and press your elbows into the earth, lift your body weight up off the block, and we're just going to start moving with our breath here. Get myself situated here. So feet on your back. I want you to inhale, reach the arms overhead, take a nice long stretch, and then hug both knees to the chest. On the exhale, blow it all out. Inhale to extend, reach, fill the lungs, breathe into the belly. Exhale, hug both knees to the chest, blow it all out. One last time, inhale, reach the arms overhead, breathe. Exhale, hug both knees to the chest. And now here on your back, we're just going to start out with a child's pose, or not child's pose, happy baby. So I want you to pull the knees wide, and then if it's accessible and comfortable for you, see if you can grab hold of the outsides of your feet and maybe roll side to side. So this just starts out with a little bit of a hip opener here. Breathe into your hips. I like to roll side to side because it kind of massages the muscles along the spine here. And if this is uncomfortable to do with both legs, because sometimes depending on your hip mobility, you might not have the flexibility at this point to do this in both legs, or if this is pinchy on your low back, just go ahead and switch to one side and then the other, right? Because it's a little bit less intense to do one side rather than two-sided movements, especially here in the beginning. All right, so here in Happy Baby, come back to that breath, and as you inhale, breathe into the belly, nice deep diaphragm breaths. And then release the legs. Have your arms out by your sides. And we'll start with a few little scorpion movements. So kind of dynamic trunk twists here. And the way you do this is just pick up one leg, cross it, go across the body, see if you can maybe tap the knee on the earth, and then come back to center. So we're switching sides. And by the way, you don't have to be able to bring the knee all the way to the earth. Even if you're just taking it slightly across the body, that's good too. Also, if you prefer to support your leg with your arms, this is all about just some nice feel-good movement, getting the core warmed up, getting a little bit of rotation here in the spine, also moving those nice big joints, those nice big muscles in your glutes, your quads, your outer hips. All right, go ahead and take it through a couple more times each side. All right, now go back to the right side. Hug just the right knee to the chest and supporting the right knee with the hands. Take some knee circles here. So just really holding the weight of your leg here. And then since you've got your right leg bent, if it's comfortable for you, pass the right knee into the right hand and start to open it up just like a book. So you're starting to get into your right inner thigh here, and maybe move the knee up and down. Don't have this be a static stretch here in the beginning. You're supporting your knee with your hands. So just starting to get into that inner thigh. All right, now bring it back to center and release the right leg down onto the earth. And we're going to go into the other side. Start by bending the knee and take some little knee circles here with your left knee. Nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. And then if you did this on the other side, pass the weight of your leg into your left hand and slowly allow gravity to pull that knee toward the earth, opening up into that left inner thigh here. Nice deep breaths. All right, now bring it back to center. Hug both knees to the chest. Pick the head and shoulders and the tailbone off the earth, and maybe start to roll up and down the length of the spine, up to the shoulders, down to the tailbone. Depending on if you're on a carpeted floor or a more hard floor, as you know, this can be more or less comfortable, so you can skip this if you don't love this part. And then cross over the ankles. Bring it into tabletop here. So forward, backward flexion of the spine, taking it right into cat-cow. Inhale as you lower the sternum toward the earth. Exhale as you round the spine, tucking the chin to the chest. Inhale for the back bend. Remember, your neck is also part of your spine, so your neck goes into this bend. Also, exhale to round. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now we're going to incorporate a little bit more of our body, our limbs with this. So instead of just cat-cow with the spine, we're gonna turn this into a little bit of a flow. So back to child's pose, up to tabletop, and then forward, lowering to the earth and taking cobra. So here's how it's going to go. Take an inhale here at tabletop. Exhale to lower all the way to the earth. So your thighs touch, the tops of your feet touch. Inhale, cobra, gazes forward. Exhale, take it back to child's pose. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale to lower to the earth. Keep the elbows close to the ribs as you lower. You're not chicken winging out to the side. You're bending and you're pointing your elbows towards your feet as you lower. That's going to come into play later on when we do some flows. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra, gazes forward, neck is long. Exhale, child's pose. We're going to take it through 3 more full rounds of that. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now we're going to hang out in child's pose for a few breaths. Just notice how your joints and muscles are feeling as you come into this shape, into a sense of stillness here on your mat. Something, by the way, that I like to do sometimes in child's pose that you might try this evening if it's comfortable for you is walk your hands towards each other into kind of a prayer shape with your hands, and even walk your elbows towards each other. And so it helps if you have kind of a sticky mat, because this mat helps your elbows kind of keep gripping towards each other. And then if you can kind of relax into that rotation, then notice that there's a little bit of this nice opening rotation stretch that you feel between your shoulder blades. That's an external rotation in each of the arms that just opens up a little bit of space between the shoulder blades. Really nice to take that in child's pose. It's just like a little modification that you can take. If that didn't make sense, or if you don't love that, regular child's pose is always still great. All right, a couple more nice deep breaths here. All right, bring it forward to tabletop, and then pick up your right leg and just step it through outside the right pinky. So we're coming into a nice low lunge here right at the beginning, and start with a couple little knee circles here. Knee is over the front ankle. You can't really see it from my laptop, but just draw some circles around the ankle with the knee. And remember, nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. You know, I was hearing Dusty read this in some article earlier this week that apparently nose breathing is not only does it have all the benefits that we've talked about in our yoga classes of slowing down the breath, but your nose contains antibodies and filtration systems that will keep you healthier during cold and flu season. So basically, the air, the oxygen that you take in through your nose has an extra level of cleaning that you wouldn't otherwise get if you were mouth breathing. Science. More reasons to practice your nose breathing here on the mat, because the more you can build it here on the mat, you're creating those habits and those chains of behavior that really will follow you off the mat. Okay, other side. Step the right knee back, step the left knee forward outside the left pinky, and really start to just move and wiggle into that left hip here. Organic movement here. All right, bring it back to tabletop. We're going to get into our core here. So pick up the right leg, press the right heel back behind you. Have the leg in line with the hip. So you're neither kicking it up higher above your hip, nor are you popping your right hip on top of left. We'll talk about that later. But for now, I want you to keep your hip points to the degree that you're able in line with each other so that they're equidistant from the floor. Now pick up the left arm, reach the left fingertips forward, take an inhale. Exhale, draw the elbow toward the knee. So a little bit of a balance challenge. Inhale to extend, reach, but still maintain that core tension in the belly and the low back. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, reach, extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, reach, extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, last time, reach, extend, and tabletop on the exhale. Same thing on the other side. Pick up the left leg, press the left heel back behind you. It's neither above nor below the hip. It's in line with both of your hips are in line with each other. Pick up the right arm, inhale as you reach, extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, extend, reach. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, reach, extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, reach. Exhale. Last time, inhale to reach. And on the exhale, back down to tabletop. So curl the toes under, shift your body weight back onto the balls of your feet, starting to get a little stretch in the arches of the feet. And then before we just take it right back to downward facing dog, we're gonna keep building some heat, some strength here in the core. What I want you to do is I want you to pick your knees up an inch off the mat, okay? So an inch really means an inch. I want it to be I want your knees to be as low, as close to the mat as you possibly can. So we're super engaged in the core here in the low belly. We're not gonna stay here for very long. And by the way, you can always come out of it anytime you need to, just as a reminder. You are practicing from home, so nobody gets any gold stars for hurting themselves, pushing themselves so far that they don't have a good time. Ultimately, this is really just about getting some nice, feel-good stretches. All right, extra challenge here. Keeping your knees hovering off the earth. Can you pick up your right leg, left arm again, and bring it back down? Other side, right leg, or left arm, right leg. All right, back to the first side. Right leg, left arm. Second side, left leg, right arm. And back down. All right, bring it back to child's pose. Start to build a little bit of heat in the shoulders there. Maybe you broke a sweat. All right, bring it back up to tabletop, curl the toes under, take an inhale. And this time we're gonna take it back to downward facing dog on the exhale. Pedal the feet, right, left, right, left. Press one heel, then the other into the earth. All right, now glance back at your feet. Step your feet about mat width apart. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Take a soft bend in the knees. Hook your hands into the opposite elbows and just gently sway side to side. Pay special attention to the exhale. Make sure your exhales are as complete as you can possibly make them. When you empty out your breath, you create space to take healthy, full inhales. All right, release the hands from the elbows. Bring the hands to the shins. Experiment with straightening up the legs as you inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the crown of the head forward. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms overhead, reach nice and tall. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. All right, couple half sun salutations here at the back of the mat. I'm gonna step my feet together just because that's just a movement pattern that's more comfortable for me. If you wanna still keep your feet nice and wide for support, you do you. All right, so half sun salutations. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms, reach. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Another half sun salutation. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. All right, we're gonna take a quick pause from our movement. I'm just getting down on my knees so you can see me. I want you to stay standing at the back of your mat. We're gonna do some neck movements here that will then evolve into spinal movements. So what I want you to do first is start with just a forward, backward flexion of just the neck here. So think of this as like cat-cow, but for your neck. So as you exhale, drop the chin to the chest. As you inhale, draw your chin toward the sky, looking at it from the side. Something like this. Let's do 3 of these. On your own time, on your own pace. And now come back to a neutral spine. Next, you're gonna go side to side. So what this looks like is that you're dropping your ear towards your shoulder, and then bring it back to center, and then drop your ear towards your other shoulder, and then bring it back to center. So we're just exploring that lateral movement of just the neck here. And so starting to warm up the neck is going to translate to warming up the spine. And just because we're not moving, keep going, just because we're not moving our whole bodies here doesn't mean we're not doing something that's beneficial. And so resist the urge to feel like you have to go to 100% in everything that you do. Maybe this can just be like a nice, gentle, feel-good stretch for you today, right? All right, come back to neutral here. So we went forward, back, we went side to side. Now we're gonna rotate. So I want you to turn your chin over one shoulder and then bring it back to center and turn your chin over the other shoulder. And keep going on your own time, on your own pace. Maybe this is a great opportunity to scan the body and notice where you might be holding some tension elsewhere in your body. Do you have your fists clenched up? Are you gripping your glutes? Are you gripping your jaw? Let go what you can let go. Okay, so still standing at the back of your mat. I'm still kneeling because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing with my arms. We're gonna do some side bends and some rotations. So we've done this before. Inhale, arms overhead. And then on the exhale, plant the right hand on the right hip. Exhale up and over. Nice long side stretch down the whole left side of the body. Inhale back to center. Exhale, other side, reach up and over. Inhale back to center. Exhale back to the first side. And remember, we're not twisting, we're not dropping our sternum toward the earth. We're keeping our shoulders in line with each other. And one way you can do that is you can peek up under your arm. And so that keeps your shoulders square to the front of your mat. Inhale back to center. Other side, nice long side stretch. Same thing here. Maybe you can peek up toward the sky so you can keep your shoulders and your hips in line with each other. No twists. Inhale back to center. Exhale up and over. Nice long side stretch. By the way, you might have more flexibility on one side than the other. That's pretty normal. I definitely do. Bring it back to center on the inhale. Exhale up and over. Inhale back to center. Now we're going to find some rotation here. So I want you to drop your arms in line with your shoulders and turn your gaze over your right shoulder, maybe even toward the back of the room. Inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale, other side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, rotation for the first side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, second side. 2 more times each side with your breath. Here we go. You determine the length of your movements with the length of your breath. I like doing these rotations just with the arms because it forces you to rotate to the degree that your muscles go into it, not to the degree that you can use the floor or some other object to crank yourself into it. It keeps you honest in the twist. Inhale back to center. And now all together, let's fold over the legs. I'm gonna go back to the back of my mat. Fold over the legs, release the chin, release the back of the neck, release the middle of the back, release the shoulders, release the low back. And next we're gonna come up to standing, but this time I want you to think about coming up to standing as though it's 1 vertebrae at a time, starting from your tailbone. So imagine, I want you to do this as slow as you possibly can. Imagine that you're stacking 1 vertebrae on top of the one beneath it. So it's like a slow wave all the way up to standing. Your head comes up last. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive over the legs. Walk the hands forward to plank here. All right, so bring it out here to plank. In plank, we establish that nice firm foundation through the fingertips. So spread the fingers nice and wide. Press even the pinkies into the earth. Straighten up the elbows. Press the heels toward the back of the room. Crown of the head is forward. Slight tuck under with the tailbone to engage and activate the abdominals. Take an inhale. Exhale, lower all the way to the earth. Bending the elbows toward the feet. Remember, not out to the sides. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, take it back to downward facing dog. 2 long, slow breaths in downward facing dog. Glance up at the hands, walk or step or float your feet to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. One more full sun salutation. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the earth. Step back to plank. Take it through a flow. So lower on the exhale. Back bend on the inhale. Downward facing dog on the exhale. All right, so if you're in downward facing dog, we're gonna do a couple leg lifts, like a three-legged dog leg lift. So I want you to inhale, lift the right leg, lead with the heel. Exhale, right leg back down. Inhale, lift the left leg, lead with the heel. Exhale, left leg back down. Back to the first side. Inhale, lift the right leg. This time, bend the knee and try stacking the right hip on top of left here. So you're really leading the right knee toward the sky, finding a twist in downward facing dog. Exhale, back down to center. Same thing, other side. Inhale, lift the left leg, bend the knee, stack the hips. So it's like you're finding a twist in downward facing dog. Your right leg, the leg that's still planted on the earth, is really nice and strong. Exhale, bring it back down. Lay tip of the hands, walk the feet forward to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Okay, so what I want you to do first, I want you to pick up your right leg and step it straight back behind you. We're gonna give our arms a little bit of a break, but we're gonna move through a little bit of a warrior two and triangle sequence here, just to kind of start to warm up our external rotation here in preparation for half moon. So both legs are straight. I want you to have your front toes still pointing toward the front of the room, and your front knee is also pointing in the direction of your toes. So essentially that hip is rotated in its socket so that the whole front of your leg is pointing forward. Back leg is straight too. Arms are in line with the shoulders. So this is triangle pose. Now start by bending the front knee. We're bringing it into warrior two. All right, so take an inhale. And on the exhale, bring the right elbow to the right knee, coming into a side angle. Breathe into that right inner thigh. Inhale back to warrior two. Exhale into side angle. So we're gonna move with our breath here. Inhale into warrior two. Exhale into side angle. One more time, inhale into warrior two. Exhale into side angle. Inhale into warrior two. Straighten the right front leg. And let's just step it forward, back up to the top of the mat. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Step your right leg back straight. All right, so same concept here. You've probably heard me talk about this before. If you look at your feet, your front heel is in line with the arch of the back foot. So that's proper alignment for warrior two, triangle, side angle, many of these warrior poses that we work through. So start out with your arms in line with your shoulders, bend your front knee until it's directly over the front ankle. Keep that front knee where it is as we move from warrior two to side angle. Take an inhale. Side angle on the exhale. Gaze goes up, right fingertips up toward the sky. Inhale back to warrior two, keep the knee where it is. Side angle on the exhale. Inhale back to warrior two. Side angle on the exhale. Inhale back to warrior two. Last side angle on the exhale. Inhale back to warrior two, straighten the left front leg and step it forward to the top of the mat. So give your legs a little shake down. Okay, so we're gonna start to add a little bit of a sequence here now that our shoulders had a little bit of a break. So here at the top of the mat, inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the earth, step back to plank, take it through a flow, follow your breath. Inhale for cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale for downward facing dog. All right, inhale, lift the right leg, bend the knee, stack the hips. Exhale, step it through next to the right thumb. Find your balance as you inhale, draw the arms up to crescent lunge. So the front knee is over the front ankle. And now on the exhale, take it into warrior two. So this is not your first warrior two of the day. This should look pretty familiar. Front knee is over the front ankle, back leg is straight. We're gonna flow back and forth from warrior two to side angle while we're here. Take an inhale. Exhale into side angle. And if you have the flexibility and it's starting to open up in your inner thigh here, you might lower your right hand either to the earth, or this is where your book or your block comes in handy. Okay, so the book is kind of like a block. You can have it, you can use the spine of it, you can use it horizontally, you can use it vertically. It's not much help if it's this way. So maybe give that a try. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, last warrior two. Straighten up the front leg and step it forward to the top of the mat. All right, we're gonna get into the other side the same way. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the earth. Take it back to plank and follow your breath through vinyasa. Left side, inhale, lift the left leg, bend the knee, stack the left hip on top of right. Exhale, step it through next to your left thumb. Crescent lunge on the inhale, find your balance. Warrior two on the exhale. Take an inhale here in warrior two. Side angle on the exhale. Your elbow either finds your knee, or your hand finds the earth, or a block, something that is in between your knee and the earth. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, warrior two. Check in with that front knee. Make sure it's still bent and over the front ankle. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, warrior two. Now straighten the left front leg and let's step it forward to the top of the mat. Nice, so give your legs a little shake out. All right, so we're gonna take a tree pose, so a balancing pose. That's a nice preparation for half moon. So it's kind of like half moon, but maybe not as complicated and doesn't have your torso parallel with the earth. And so it's kind of a good entree to many other balancing poses. So tree pose, go ahead and be at the top of the mat. I'm square to you because I'm facing you. So shift all of your body weight to your right leg, and then bring the left knee up in line with the hip. Okay, so the idea with any balancing pose is that your standing leg, it's gotta be super straight. So start by building it from the foundation, from the floor. So all 5 toes of that standing leg are gripping into the earth. The ankle's nice and strong. The knee is straight, the quadriceps lifting up on the kneecap, and the hips are level to the degree that you can. All right, now what I want you to do with that floating leg is I want you to rotate out from the hip, right? And then, so what we just did is we externally rotated the floating leg. Now I want you to press the sole of your foot against either your calf muscle, or you can use it as a kickstand against your ankle. Nice perk with your toe right there, so it's a little extra balance. Or if you've got the flexibility and you want to give it a try today, you can try lifting your knee up, or your foot up above your knee. But it is important that the sole of your foot is making contact with your leg above the knee joint, because if you put pressure against the knee joint, over time, you're going to start to loosen up the ligaments in your knee. Your knee is not meant to bend sideways. It's a hinge joint. So let's not help it along toward any sort of injury. So have your foot above or below the knee joint. Tree pose. Okay. So what you want to do here is you want to keep rotating that knee out to the side. So we're still switching on this external rotation. Activate the outer hip here. Standing leg is straight, hips are square over the top of the mat. And then with the arms, you can do whatever helps you stay balanced. I like to inhale, bring the arms overhead. You can't really see. You can do whatever you want with your arms. Some people like to bring the hands to heart center. Also remember to breathe. Just because you're balancing doesn't mean you hold your breath. Okay, so let's go ahead and relax everything. So shake out your standing leg, shake out your free leg for that matter. All right, so other side, shift all of your body weight to your left leg and bring your right knee up in line with the hip. So same thing, we build this foundation from the bottom up, this balancing pose. So it starts with the toes. Grip into the earth with all 5 toes. It sounds cheesy, but it really does help. If you create tension right at the sole of your foot, then that tension is going to travel up your body, and it's going to switch on all the little stabilizing muscles all the way up the leg, and frankly, all the way up your body. Okay, so once you feel like you've got your balance, rotate the knee out to the side, press the sole of your foot against your calf muscle, inner thigh, or ankle, above or below the kneecap. And then I'll keep remembering to switch on your outer hip by drawing the knee out to the side. And so one way to think about it is imagine a force field going down the whole front of your body, and you don't want to get zapped by that force field, right? So you don't want that knee to drift forward. And then maybe take some other variation with the shoulder or with the arms. Maybe you reach straight overhead, or maybe you can reach around behind and you can interlace the fingers and get a little stretch across the front of the chest. Still remember to keep that standing leg nice and straight, really gripping into the earth. Take one more inhale. And on the exhale, release everything down. Nice job. Okay, so coming back to the top of your mat, we're gonna build into half moon, and we're gonna get there after a sequence of warrior 2 triangle. We're gonna go right into half moon, and we might do it a couple times. We'll see how we like it. So be at the top of the mat. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the earth. Step it back to plank. Take it through a flow. All right, right side. Inhale, lift the right leg, bend the knees, stack the hips. Exhale, step it through next to the right thumb. Spin the back heel down. We're gonna skip crescent lunge this time. Inhale, windmill the arms right up to warrior 2. Okay, so remember you've got this external rotation in the right front leg. This is gonna be your standing leg for your balancing pose. So what I want you to do is straighten, make sure you have your block or your book nearby, by the way. So you want that on the big toe side of your foot. Now straighten the right front leg. We're gonna go into triangle pose first. Reach the right fingertips forward toward the front, and on the exhale, rotate the arms in one straight line. So we're coming into triangle pose. Should feel a nice long stretch down the right inner thigh and or a hamstring. Right, so with triangle pose, you wanna have both legs straight. Right, and that's the idea. If your knee is bent, then you're not getting as much of a stretch in the hamstring. And so back it off, maybe decrease the distance between the feet, maybe elevate your hand more so that you can have both knees straight. Okay, so what I like to do to get into half moon is I like to take my upper hand and just drop it down onto my hip just to get it out of the way for now, just so it's not distracting me. I have my block or I'm gonna do it with my book so you can see how it's done with the book. So I've got my book. I'm gonna set it out in front of the knee, in front of my toe, and I'm gonna bend my front knee. So this is my standing leg. So with a nice combination of control, but also momentum, I'm going to shift my body weight onto this right front leg, this standing leg, and then I'm going to straighten the standing leg up, just like I did with tree pose. And then the floating leg is in line with the hip. Flex the back foot as though you could stand on the back wall. Okay, so just like in triangle pose, both legs are straight. I've got my hand on the book. It's helping me stay supported. If you can reach the floor, that's fine, but do have your hand on something. And then if you're feeling pretty good about this, maybe add the arm straight overhead. And so if you can see yourself, if you've got a mirror, or if you can peek at your neighbor, you'll notice that your arms and legs, all your limbs are going in every direction, but ultimately, we're all stacked, we're making a bunch of 90-degree angles. All right, all together, let's lower back out of it the way we came into it. Replant the back foot. You can set the block off to the side, come up to standing. Nice. And maybe you could parallel your feet here and get a couple little hip circles here. Might feel really nice. Your outer hip might have fired up during that. I hope none of you fell. If you fell, I hope you didn't hurt yourself. Couple little hip circles. Okay, so come on back to the top of the mat. We're gonna go through that same sequence, this time on the left side. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the earth, step it back to plank, take it through a flow. Two long, slow breaths in downward facing dog. All right, inhale, lift the left leg, bend the knees, stack the hips. Exhale, step it through next to the left thumb. Now spin the back heel down. We're going right into warrior two, windmill the arms. Okay, so front knee is bent. Back leg is nice and straight. Find your block again. We're gonna go into triangle pose first and then half moon. So all the same sequence, just different side. So straighten the left front leg. Both legs are straight. Reach the left fingertips forward toward the front, and on the exhale, rotate the arms in one straight line. So if you're practicing with someone at your house, maybe take a look at each other. Tell each other if your arms are straight. Tell each other if your legs are straight. I know sometimes it's hard to know what's going on in your own body, and so, maybe solicit some feedback from your neighbor. Okay, so we're going from triangle pose to half moon. Just like on the other side, float the right hand down onto the right hip just to get it out of the way so it's not a distraction. Bend the front knee. So you're creating a little bit of, play from front to back here with that soft bend in the knee so your joint can absorb a little bit of that, that shock of shifting your body weight up onto that standing leg, with that combination of momentum and also control. All right, so you've got your hand on a block or a book. Remember, both legs are straight. Your right hip is stacked on top of your left. Your right shoulder is stacked on top of your left. Flex the right foot as though you could stand on that back wall. And then if you've got everything figured out, reach the right fingertips toward the sky. So your arms are doing the same thing they were doing in triangle pose. They're straight. They're perpendicular with the earth. Remember to breathe, focus, take an inhale, and on the exhale, come on out of it with control, floating back out of it. Nice job. Straighten up, parallel the feet again. Maybe step them a little bit closer together. Take a couple little hip circles here. There's a lot going on in half moon, right? Because it's a balancing pose, but there's also flexibility. There's also strength. I mean, there's lots of going on. So it is worth practicing, and it's also worth doing again. We're going to do it again this evening. Okay, so come on back to the top of the mat. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. By the way, we're going to spend less time doing it if that helps. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the earth. Step it back to plank. Take it through flow. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, back to the right side. Inhale, lift the right leg, bend the knees, stack the hips. Exhale, step it through. We're gonna take it into warrior two, so spin the back heel down. Inhale right into warrior two. Now straighten the right front leg, reach the right fingertips forward, and on the exhale, triangle pose. Now shift your gaze toward the floor right in front of your right foot. Find your block or your book. Release the left hand, have it down on the hip. Bend, soft bend in the front knee. Shift the body weight into half moon. Both knees are straight, both legs are straight. Add the top arm, reaching the left fingertips toward the sky. Your gaze is down toward the earth. This is a balancing pose. It helps if you look at something that's not moving. Now come out of it the way you came into it, with control. And circle the hands to the earth. Step it back to plank, take it through a flow. Same thing on the other side. Inhale, lift the left leg, bend the knees, stack the hips. Exhale, step it through. Spin the back heel down, take it right up to warrior two. Straighten the left front leg. Inhale, reach the left fingertips forward. Exhale, warrior or triangle pose. Float the right hand back down to the hip. Shift your body weight forward into that front leg. Nice and controlled. Float the right leg coming into half moon. Gaze is down. Remember to breathe. Both legs are straight. Add the arm reaching toward the sky. So you've got a lot of energy in that floating leg, as though you could stand on the back wall. Take an inhale. And go ahead and come on out of it with control. Circle the hands to the earth. Take it through a flow. All right, let's take a break. Take it back to child's pose. Bring the big toes to touch. Settle the hips back toward the heels. Nice job. That was pretty challenging. All right, bring the legs around in front of you. We're gonna get right into floor stretching here. Where does the time go? Amazing. All right, lie down on your back. Cross the right ankle over the left knee. We're gonna wrap this up with a figure four. So interlace the hands behind the left knee. Take some nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. Back to that nose breathing. If you lost your nose breathing when we were working hard. By the way, I'm curious, not that you're going to respond to me, but this is a rhetorical question. Were you able to maintain your nose breathing, that controlled breath, even in the midst of some of our more challenging poses? That is particularly where you can really practice that discipline and create that pattern of when things get particularly hard, that is when my body dials into the breath. And on your yoga mat is a great place to practice that. All right, go ahead and switch sides. Cross the left ankle over the right knee. All right, and go ahead and bring it back to center. Hug both knees to the chest. Gently roll side to side. We're going to finish it with a gentle spinal twist here. So you may have been used to doing a spinal twist where you drop one leg across your body, and those are totally fine twists, but today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to keep both knees in line with each other. So bend the knees so that the knees are directly over the hips and the shins are parallel with the earth. Have your arms up by your side. And then this is key. What I want you to do first is I want you to just kind of scoot your hips to your right. So just like a little hop to scoot your hips to your right. Now lower the knees toward the earth, toward the left. And so what that does by scooting your hips to your right is it keeps the spine in line. All right, so make sure you're nice and comfortable in this twist. Have your arms out in line. Allow gravity to pull the knees toward the earth. And then your knees are going to your left, and that means your gaze is going to your right. If you can, try to keep both shoulders on the earth. All right, now go ahead and bring it back to center, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So bring the tailbone back in line with the shoulders, knees in line, so everything's in line. And now bring the knees up over the hips. And this time, you're going to scoot your hips to your left, and the knees will go to your right. So little scoot with the hips to the left, lower the knees off to the right. And then if it's comfortable for you and you can keep both shoulders on the earth, turn your gaze to your left. All right, now slowly bring it back to center. And then lower yourself into a final resting pose for yourself, whatever that looks like for you. So Shavasana, if you want to have your legs straight, you want to have your legs bent, arms straight, arms bent. You can be on your back, your side, you can be seated. You can also, since you're getting really well versed in various household objects that you can use for your yoga practice, you can come back to your supported back bend here at the end of your practice. If you really like that and you want to get a little bit more of that, the end of your practice is a great time to explore a little bit more back bending, and that supported passive back bend is a really gentle back bend to come back to. So you could try that too if you want. So we're going to take 5 minutes of time a bit. We're going to take a 2-minute Shavasana, and then I'll pull us out of it. All right, Shavasana. And slowly begin to reawaken the body. Wiggle the fingers, the toes, roll out the wrists, the ankles. Reach the arms overhead toward the back, point the toes toward the front. Take a deep breath and full body stretch from fingers to toes and everything in between. And then on the exhale, roll over to one side. And then slowly press the earth away. Make your way back up to a comfortable seated position, whatever that looks like for you. Close your eyes when you get there. Lightly rest your hands on your knees. And just come back to that place of observation, that place of stillness. Notice the breath. Notice the sense of peace, the sense of stillness. On the next inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, pull your breath to heart center. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through your practice. Have a beautiful evening. Namaste.